Well, first of all, let me just say that I'm extremely honored to be here today. I always think it's so great when women can share their stories together, share their passions that create those stories. I think that the more we share those, the more we begin to have the opportunity to move forward in our lives. I love our theme today, It's About Time, because we know that's the one thread that weaves through all of our lives and all of our work. My work is in the film industry, as she has just told you. It's probably one of the most exciting times to be in the film industry in this state, ever. I work in the industry more as a casting director. And if you don't know what that is, we get the opportunity to break down the scripts, to decide what the roles need to look like, to audition actors and actually bring them in to meet the directors and decide who's going to actually be in those films. So it's an awesome job. It's a job I have loved doing. It's given me the opportunity to work with so many great people throughout the years, in front of the cameras and behind the cameras. In front of the cameras, people like Kyle Chandler, who I'm sure many of you know, who at this point is in Bloodline, or Walton Goggins, who's in The Principal right now, or the amazing Ray McKinnon, who created the series Rectify. It's shot here in Georgia for the last couple of years. I had the fortunate pleasure to be in the room with all of those people at the beginning of their careers. I've also had the opportunity to work with some amazing directors. Billy Bob Thornton, Ang Lee, who is obviously a genius, and his film that's coming out next month called Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. It's going to be a great film, which I got to be a part of. And probably my most favorite is Clint Eastwood, with whom I've had the opportunity to work now several times, most recently on his film Sully. The only thing that's been a little sad about some of this is the fact that I haven't worked with very many female directors. But that being said, I began to start looking at, I think I was probably 19 the first time I ever walked on a movie set in Los Angeles, and I knew, this is the business I want to be in. But I was going back to Georgia. So I began to get in the film industry, and that allowed me the opportunity to go out to Los Angeles on a very frequent basis, gave me the opportunity to learn much more about the film industry. It also gave me another opportunity, and that was to talk about what we could do here in Georgia in the film industry. I think so many people would not have, at that particular point in time, thought that made very much sense, but it did to me, because I wanted to work in the film industry. So I called on studios and I called on producers. I talked to anyone who would talk to me, and I would talk about Georgia, and I would talk about the fact that we had a great talent pool here, that we had a very professional, experienced crew base, that we had lots of backup resources for the film industry. We had great locations. And until recently, we had really rather mild weather. Well, there were those in the industry with me who honestly believed, had a vision like I did, that we could bring the film industry to Georgia. We just had to bring more films here. And you know what? We have done that. I served on Governor Sonny Perdue's Film Advisory Commission, and I was one of 5 people who served on the committee that actually created and lobbied to pass the tax credit for this state. 30% tax credit. That 30% tax credit is worth $7 billion to the Georgia economy now. We have, thank you. Thank you, that's very kind, because there are many of us who are extremely proud of that. And we are sometimes shocked our own selves when we see how big the industry has become here. Along with that incentive came the opportunity for a lot of really wonderful, skilled entertainment jobs. It also began to change the infrastructure. Do you realize that Georgia has 12 movie studios here? 12, and they're growing. More to come. One of the famous, of course, is the Pinewood Studio, home of James Bond and Ant-Man and so many other great blockbuster films. When they were looking for a place to put their studio in this country, they picked Georgia. How wonderful is that? A result of all of that, we have shot, since the passing of this bill, 2,600 films in the state of Georgia. 2,600. I can't tell you how incredible that is for those of us who work in the industry. And you know, there's another real special thing about that, because this was a part of the tax bill. This is what we got that made it, helped it to pass. If you go to the movie studio films, or you watch special television shows, anything that's shot in the state of Georgia, you'll see the Georgia peach. Have you seen that peach? I hope you have. Tell me yes, you've seen this peach. Yes. Okay, that peach branded all those 2,600 projects for Georgia. It not only branded them, but it will help to make us, it really brands us as a really seriously international player in the entertainment here in Georgia. Now we are known worldwide. And the wonderful thing about that is, with that peach, it will carry Georgia's brand throughout many years to come, making it even that much more special. One of the things that I think that has been so important to what we're doing in the industry, as I said, when you look at the work that has been done, the other thing that we've done through this industry is supported a lot of other businesses. The digital media industry that we talk about, big in Georgia. The world-renowned music industry that comes out of this state. So we've had the opportunity to really support other industries along the way. We've also been very capable of now starting to train a whole new generation of filmmakers out of this state. Filmmakers, and we've also been able to take people who were not in our business and help to train them also to become a part of our business. In 2008, when so many jobs were leaving our country, in Georgia, the film industry was creating jobs. We were able to take people who had worked previously in what was now the depressed construction industry, the slowing down of the real estate industry. We were able to take those people, retrain them, use their skills, and bring them into the Georgia film industry. Probably some of the biggest real estate deals that have been done in this state in the last years actually come as a result of this tax incentive, when you think of all these new studios that have been built. Well, if we talk about the number of people that our industry has been putting together, I'm going to give you another number. 79 plus thousand being put to work in the film industry in the state of Georgia. 79,000 people. So, now, one of the things that I want to point out to you is, you see this little yellow sign sitting here? I'm hoping most of you have seen signs that look much like this all around our city and our state now. When I first started going out to Los Angeles, I would see signs like this everywhere. And I would go, what is that? And then I found out what it was. Every single one of those signs points the way to a film shooting somewhere close by. And as I said, those bright, shiny little signs lead the way to job opportunities in this state. Now, it's about here that this begins to dim just a little bit for us. Our industry has a history of ignoring some of its most important, most creative voices, the voices of women. I'm sure that many of you have heard in recent years the voices that are coming out of Los Angeles regarding the injustice of the opportunities for women. You've heard some of our most successful actresses speak about this. Don't think they don't know. They run the chance of jeopardizing their careers by being so outspoken. But you know what? They've seen how this game is played, and they want to level the playing field. How do we do that? How do we change that playing field? Well, you change it by telling more stories about women and by women. We need more writers. We need more producers. We need more directors. Remember I said a few directors? We need more directors. We need more women financing movies, learning how to distribute movies. And you know what? All of that will lead to more really good roles for women in front of the camera. Again, I say, you remember I said I worked with very few directors? Well, there's a reason. There are very few. In the top 100 grossing films in the recent years, only 2.7 were women in 2007. In 2013, that number dropped to 1.9%. Obviously, going the wrong way. Writers, same statistic of films, 11.2% in 2007. By 2013, that number had also gone backwards to 7.4%. And producers, people like myself, who want to create projects, want to put projects together, 20% in the top 100 grossing films. 20%. Dropped in 2013 to lower than 19%. And of 4,500 roles in all of those same films, 4,500 roles, 31% went to women. So obviously, we need change. We need to find a way to make those statistics change. How do we do that? Well, we do that by arming ourselves with the right facts and busting some myths. How many of you go to the movies? Have favorite television shows? Yeah. You know that 85% of all consumer entertainment dollars are controlled by women? I don't think we even think about that or know it. But that gives the power to women in the buying end, so why shouldn't we be in the creating end on a bigger and stronger basis? So I think that when we look at that, we also come up against another statistic. That statistic says that less money is always made on films that are starring women or are women-centric films. False. Also, another statistic says that more men go to movies than women. But the American Motion Picture Association says otherwise. 119 million women to 110 million men. So, obviously, all those facts are not true. I do know that, as I said, when I first started casting, I became immediately aware of how few roles there were for women. I had so many actresses who would say to me, "Why do I not get to audition?" Well, the answer was simple. The roles were not in the script. And if they were in the script, they were always the same. Nurse, teacher, secretary, mother. All right, so I decided there needed to be a change, and I do what I could to try to change it here in Georgia. So I started asking, can the judge be a woman? Can the doctor be a woman? Perhaps the president could be a woman. Most of the time, my answer, yes, right on. Thank you. Most of the time, my answer came in the way of silence. So I just took that as a yes. And I just proceeded forward and started casting with a whole new agenda. I was able to put more women to work and put them in better roles. Yes. Thank you. One of my most favorite auditions was the opportunity to cast a doctor. And I brought in this wonderful African-American actress. And when she did her audition, the director told her that she had mispronounced a medical term, to which she very confidently responded, no, that in fact she was right. Well, there's a very strange silence in the room again for a moment. And to then the director speaks up and he says, well, I am a doctor. To which the actress responds, I too am a doctor. True story. She got the role, and I got to cast a woman as a doctor. So, we are number 3. And I don't even like to use that term. I like to say we are among the top 3 in the country right now as an entertainment production market. We are number 5 in the entire world right now. So, here's my challenge to all of us. Well, then let's make it number 1 for women in the film industry in Georgia. Let's make that our priority. We all know that movies can change us. I know It's a Wonderful Life so inspired me. Where is that woman who will write that next inspiring script? Don't we want to be ready to bring her story and her vision to the screen? It is about time. And as a parting thought, let me just simply say to you, on the night of Paul Revere's ride, did you know that a woman also rode in the opposite direction? And she rode faster, and she reached more people. Do you know her name? Why, of course you don't. It's been lost in history. Wouldn't we like to see her story brought to the screen? So I say to you in ending, if we don't tell our stories, who will? It is surely about time. Thank you.